I present functional analysis approach to symbolic regression. It is relevant to apply genetic programming for symbolic regression. GP is a powerful method to solve symbolic regression by natural evolution of symbolic expressions. However, when the new mathematical expressions are sampled from the probabilistic distribution, that can cause disruptive behavior of the whole function. For instance, this was our initial candidate solution that is represented by a tree in our program. And we applied variation operator that produced another candidate solution with this variation in the expression. We will call such expressions as blocks. We see that only one block is changed. However, the change in the loss value is significant, even though the change in the description might be not significant. This lack of locality is proposed to address in related works by optimization of numerical constants that are located in the terminals of every tree. So out of every candidate solution, we would produce some solution that lies closer to the attractor of the corresponding attraction basin. This is one of the examples why it might be useful to optimize the numerical constants. However, the new generated blocks might be such that the new candidate solution after the optimization would be the same as after the optimization of the initial candidate solution. It means that the second local optimization just wastes computational resources. Apart from this, the numerical optimization might run into the numerical problems, such as ill-conditioned Jacobian matrices. Therefore, we can conclude that it's better to not touch these numerical constants. So these statements contradict to each other, and we ask the question what to do. In order to answer this question, we propose a method to optimize the constants only when it is needed to optimize them. To reach this, we decompose genetic programming to the generation and combination phase of the blocks. The generation phase uses powerful site of GP to produce new blocks, while combination cares about the constants and connects the blocks together. We developed the Fourier Tree Growing as a simple implementation of this generic idea, and we describe this algorithm using the formal model. Using this model, we propose the following guarantees: that FTG filters out all the redundant blocks and leaves only the useful blocks for the function. And it combines the generated blocks using the optimal possible constants. And given enough computational resources, this algorithm locates the minimal reachable loss function. To challenge this algorithm, we propose a new benchmark that is called large-scale polynomials. It challenges GP with high-degree polynomials and challenges FTG because the space where FTG is bound to optimize is infinitely dimensional. Now we give the strict formulation of the original symbolic regression problem. Consider the given domain in n-dimensional Euclidean space, an unknown function that we aim to approximate, the training data that consists of n points. For now, we only consider finite dimensional cases, finite n's, and elementary operators that can be unary, binary, constants, and orthogonal projections that are used when the value n is bigger than 1. The goal of symbolic regression is to find such function f hat that consists of compositions of these elementary operators, minimizes the defined loss function. In our work, we just considered MSE loss function. And out of all the functions that corresponds goal 1 and 2, we find such that has smallest lengths of the corresponding symbolic sequence. This exact problem is not considered, this exact goal is not directly addressed in this work, so we leave consideration of the third goal for future works. In order to change the optimization space from space of trees to space of functions, we propose the following reformulation. First of all, we consider the space of all functions, and then we define the equivalence relation, such that two functions are equivalent if their values on all the training data points are the same. Using this equivalence relation, we make a partition of the whole function space to equivalence classes and define the inner product. We show that with this inner product and this partition, this new space is n-dimensional Hilbert space. It induces the distance that is proportional to the defined MSE loss function. This is done for finite size of the training data. However, other inner products and equivalence relations are possible, including those that support infinitely big training data. And this will be covered at the end of this presentation. Then the optimization problem is transformed to the following. We aim to find such f hat that gives the smallest possible value of this distance between f hat, between the class of f hat and the class of the target function, and with the constraint that f hat should be only the composition of the elementary operators. Now let us describe the method that we propose. First of all, we describe the generation. The generation is very simple. It uses ramped half and half right away. So it samples one of the operators uniformly using the following distribution. When the corresponding depth of the tree is smaller than the given lower bound, it samples the unary or binary operator to make the tree bigger. If the depth is already bigger than the upper bound, it does not make it bigger by sampling only projection or constant. And otherwise, with probability P, it samples unary or binary operator to make the tree bigger, or with probability 1 minus P, it leaves the tree of the same depth in the current branch by sampling projection or constant. Now let's describe the combination. The combination, when we have these compositions F1, F2, and so on, Fk, we combine them somehow. So we consider a very simple case of combination as linear. So only constants on top of these functions are applied. And out of all this set of functions, we choose the basis. So the smallest number of functions that can be used to define all the other functions. The rest of the functions are considered as redundant, and the corresponding blocks, if F2, for example, is mutated and F5 is produced, then F5 is redundant, because F1 and F2 are chosen as basis. Then, to find the optimal constant, we use the projection theorem for that supports both finite and infinite cases. It guarantees that there exists a unique closest approximation of the given function. And in order to find the exact values of the constants, we solve the following equation by inversing the Gram matrix and multiplying it by the following vector of inner products. Now let us describe how those two ideas of generation and combination are united by our Fourier Tree Growing algorithm. At first, we consider the first function that is just a constant one. For instance, this one here. And the span of this constant is just the line, obviously. So now our goal is to produce function f1 that is that belongs to this line and is located as close as possible to the target function f. This is given by solving the equation from the last slide, and the coefficient alpha for this function is this. And so this point is closest on the span of initially generated function v. Then we repeat the following steps until we run out of computational budget or solve the problem precisely enough. We generate the new function vk until it doesn't belong to the already spanned space in all the Hilbert space. For example, the new generated function v doesn't lie on the line and belongs to the considered orange plane that is span of the original constant and the new generated expression. Then we compute the Gram matrix, and if the condition number of Gram matrix is not too big, which means that we are able to find its approximation without significant numerical errors, then we solve the equation and find the best constant alpha. Notice that in order to solve this equation, we do not need to reevaluate all the function f hat k. Instead, we just need to consider values of the fresh generated block vk. Then the new best approximation is obtained using the new constants and the new generated function vk. We empirically analyze the performance of this algorithm on conventional benchmarking problems. So we consider unary and binary operators, and the conventional algorithms that we consider is 1 plus 1 GP, 1 plus lambda, and canonical GP. We compare them on conventional benchmark problems. On this slide, we show the result of this comparison. The horizontal x shows the tolerance, and the vertical x shows different problems. The first part of this slide shows the difference in success rate. In all the experiments, FTG reached perfect success rate. However, the best of this algorithm not always reached. For instance, when the corresponding square is red, it means that FTG has much better success rate than the best of these three conventional GP. On the right, we see the ratio of the computational resources spent to reach the corresponding value of tolerance. The more red the value is, the more FTG wins. So we see that FTG spends much less computational resources, and therefore we can conclude that FTG outperforms conventional GP on these benchmark problems. Then we proposed large-scale polynomials to challenge FTG more. It also challenges genetic programming because it addresses the function with higher degree of polynomial. Considered elementary operators are the following, and we emphasize that the training data is infinite. It means that it equals to the domain. And the function is just a polynomial, the target function that we aim to approximate. The inner product is defined as the inner product of square integrable functions, and it induces the loss function that is it induces the distance that is also proportional to the loss function. The computation of the loss function involves the transformation of polynomials to normal form and then computation of the following integral that is just transformed to the sum. We applied conventional GP and FTG to this algorithm, to this problem, and found that first of all, FTG stagnates sometimes when the big enough computational budget is given. Also, the span grows very quickly, but then stagnates due to the stagnation of FTG, which happens because ill-conditioned Gram matrices are addressed. And the trees grows very quickly. This is not the disadvantage of our simple heuristic for generation of compositions. Finally, in this work, we proposed to decompose GP into the generation and combination of mathematical expressions. The generation works as simple ramped half and half, and combination unites the expressions as linear combinations. These parts are combined using FTG algorithm that is interpreted through Hilbert space. FTG significantly outperforms GP on one-dimensional benchmark problems and works with very small tolerances. However, we emphasize its disadvantages on the proposed LSP benchmark, and one of the disadvantages is that it works with very ill-conditioned gram matrices. Since our methods for generation and combination are very simple, we are very optimistic that these problems can be addressed in the future, and our study leads to potentially much better implementation of GP algorithms that can be applied to practical problems. Thank you for your attention. Please consider submitting your work to Evolutionary Computation Journal.